This episode of Further Up is brought to you by Movers Everywhere. We miss you, and we hope you're doing well. Thank you.
Charlotte, what does the lion say?
Hello, friends. We're glad you're here as we adventure further up. I'm Ez.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm Lane.
And we're looking for Lewis.
We're joining you now from the far land of Ohio, where eternal summer reigns around the bright village of Amanda.
This week, we're finally reaching the place we've all been seeking, and it seems we're not alone after all.
Like right now, we're not alone anymore.
Not
we're all
alone.
together.
Right.
We are distanced.
We're at a distance,
but we're together.
but we're here.
And we're in the great outdoors of Amanda.
We're in the Garden of Amanda, kind of, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right over there. The garden's right over there.
It's true. It is right.
Yeah.
Right over there.
This is nice, though.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful
isn't it?
evening.
It's beautiful. I'm glad that we're actually filming this because it'll be a great sense memory for us because we'll watch it and go, man, remember? But I was trying to explain it. I did a little story for Up Talkin' Tolkien, and I was like, warm sun,
Spiders.
crystal clear, blue skies,
Beautiful spiders.
a nice I don't know how you describe it, like a cold breeze, like
Yeah.
a chill breeze.
My feet are cold on the grass, which I love.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's such a nice feeling.
But your
yeah.
face
Great
is warm.
feeling.
Look at
Yeah.
the light on Ez too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I see on you too. Like, it actually looks really good. I mean, like, I just, it's
It's one. You maybe get 20 days. It's the magical middle, right?
Yeah.
You get 20 days a year like this
It
in
feels
Ohio,
like spring.
but it also feels
Like
like
late
fall.
spring.
But it also feels like fall,
Right.
yeah,
and it feels like late summer.
which is wonderful for me. I love it. I told you I was
You
like,
got the flannel on.
gotta have you can't. I mean, can't wear it in the summer. So
That's very true.
I mean,
Well,
I will.
You do.
I'll cut the sleeves off and still wear
Yeah,
it.
you do. I was gonna say it's not stopping you.
It's not gonna stop me. But yeah, no, it's just like really nice. And like I actually like, I took my shoes off, took my socks off, get my feet in the grass. It feels good.
Feels
Feels
good.
good. Get that earth underneath you.
Center.
Goodness.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm
How you-
glad this is fun. I'm
how you
glad
been?
we're here. Yeah.
It's been a while. When was the last time we recorded? It was like 3 months ago.
It has
I think it was
been a
March.
while.
It was March.
We were
We released it in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah,
We
it
probably
might have
recorded
been-
in
might have been February.
because we were
I'm not
ready
sure.
to go. Like, remember that Friday that the
Yeah.
schools shut down and everything.
Yeah.
That the quarantine was going into place
yeah.
or staying at home or whatever, and you weren't feeling good.
I wasn't feeling well. So, yeah, I was not in the right mindset to record.
No, yeah. So we were all
we postponed, and here
this
we are.
Chapter's
and
been read for like 2 months and ready to go, and we're excited to get into it. In a lot of ways, it's perfect timing because this is a big moment.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big moment, and we're experiencing a lot of big moments in life right now. And so,
Right.
whether it's personally or on a like global scale. So this is a moment that's worth waiting for, worth being prepared for, and diving into and spending some time on.
Yeah, you always want to do it justice. I mean, because I really did enjoy this chapter, and I was thinking, like, as we got to the end of it, I was just sitting here going, like, I told you. And so part of earlier, I was telling Lane that,
You just
like,
pointed at Sarah.
he's
well, I
telling
was-
me I was.
yeah,
I get
I'm
you.
telling Sarah that I was telling Lane.
Tell Lane.
There it is.
And
So when-
I'm beautiful.
And I'm beautiful, by the way. And when inside joke, when I was on my way down,
I'll be a
whenever
part
I
of
go
one
on
someday.
these.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Whenever I go on, it's also like funny because we're so far away from each other that I feel like I'm shouting at you
I
guys.
know.
What did you say?
Hey! But like I go on these trips where, like if it's over an hour, or if it's like a 40-minute trip or whatever, I sometimes like it gives you time to reflect and think when you're driving, And I always think about my mom. If it gets a little bit longer, something will come up. I think about that, and then we read I was reading this chapter, and I was like, wow, it just was a really good chapter, and Diggory's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And thinking
Yeah.
about his mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
and she's his, like, real, when you come down to it, real motivation and real
yeah.
driving force.
And the reason he does what he does, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So,
So how have you been personally?
Oh, been good. Been
School's
good.
done?
School's done. It's summer break, yeah. So that's
You just went to Barnes & Noble and dropped a small fortune.
I did because they were open, and
Yeah.
they haven't been open for a while, so
Yeah.
I've been
Oh, yeah.
holding back.
getting that list up in that noggin and keeping
That's
it
right.
there. And
That's right.
I have a question for you. Okay, and you're going to say both, but which do you prefer? If you had to pick one, your favorite Barnes & Noble or like your favorite small like Nook
locally
bookshop?
owned bookstore.
Oh wow, which would I prefer? That's tough.
Because
That's
you have more
tough.
options at
They-
Barnes & Noble?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
offer different things, don't they?
They do offer more things. That variety is pretty nice. You know, if there were just like a really big, like locally owned bookshop. I wish
Bookstore.
someone in like Columbus would open up something that was just like that had everything Barnes & Noble had, but it was like it had still those nooks
Okay.
and crannies that
Here,
it wasn't
I'm gonna-
like you
wait.
know.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to blow you guys.
Yeah.
Minds here.
Yeah.
I'm going to change it. Can you get any better than Paragraphs? You walk in, you see Max leaning there. Max leaning. He's not. Max leaning could be leaning,
Yeah, he could be.
but Maxwell leaning
Yep.
at the counter. That still sounds like I'm saying he's leaning.
right.
Max at the counter. You know, you walk in, it's one room, but it's stockpiled with books.
That I do.
Is there anything finer than that?
I love paragraphs. I
Can
love
you-
paragraphs.
Can you order? I guess I don't know. I'm sure.
Yeah, they order stuff,
They order
don't they?
stuff. They
Yes.
get it for you. Cool.
Absolutely. So
Very
if
cool.
there's something you wanted, you could go in there. So back in our hometown, Mount Vernon, we Paragraphs has been around there for a long time.
Long time.
It used to be in a different location further on down. It was
down in the main street.
yeah,
a little bit more.
And even
Yeah.
before that, it was somewhere else further on the other side of town,
Okay.
on the north end of town. And so, anyways, it's a fascinating little to see it how it's evolved and grown and gotten bigger.
It's revived too.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I know at one point there was a, transition in ownership, and it's just nice where it's a good location.
Yeah, right on the corner.
Got some little sofas and chairs you can sit and kind of like read books
Yeah.
and everything.
We should go record there sometime. That'd be fun.
Pretty cool.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Be a lot
if
of fun.
Yeah. So
Well, it's good to see you.
yeah, good to see you guys. How are you guys been? Everything
How
been
are
good?
you?
Good. Doing okay. We're a month away ish from having
I was gonna
baby
say, are
number
you still
3.
pregnant?
So,
Baby's not here yet.
not here. Whoa, that smoke is something.
Final prediction: is it gonna be a boy or a girl?
I'm just not sure. I'm starting to think boy. When he said boy tonight, when
Is
I
she
asked
really?
her, yeah, when she was talking to your Uncle Bobby.
The ring test said girl. The ring test back and forth.
Yeah, I don't
What's
know.
that?
Boy
It's like you put a ring on a
circles girl.
string and it circles or rocks on your
Some people
above your belly.
Some people swear by it.
Or say that it's been accurate every time for them. It was accurate with Charlotte, and we all thought she was a boy, and it said girl.
Wow.
So she lays down.
Yeah, I don't know.
You hold a ring on a string over her belly.
It's like an old it's like a wives'
Are you
tale or like
kidding
a,
me?
perfectly still. We'll do it later, and it moves.
no way.
Yeah.
well, but there's also like a million other things people say you can do to like predict.
No, but that sounds legit.
So
It's the chemicals in the air,
I have no
Wow.
atoms or
clue.
something.
That breeze is amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
People can see. Maybe they can see it in my hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
They So yeah, we're doing good, doing well. The girls are wonderful. Since we've talked last, Charlotte's talking.
Yeah.
She and Winnie have started wrestling, dancing with each other. It's the sweetest thing. So yeah, doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good. I mean, my life is wonderful. I've been having. I told you guys I wanted to talk about this on here. I've been having some struggles with like this quarantine thing is weird, man. I thought I was going to take it better than I did, and just there have been some things like really small, normal things that just make me really frustrated and really angry. And so I've been like struggling with dealing with that because that's not who I am, and I hate being that way. It saps my energy, and I don't like that. That's how I've kind of felt. And I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way, but like sometimes where you have feelings and you think, I don't want to feel like this. This isn't really truly how I feel. It's partially the circumstances of me succumbing to them.
Yep.
And I don't. What were the two I said? I don't like feeling this way. It's not who I am, and I don't want to feel this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
So, like, that's kind of where I've been. So I've been honestly. I was telling you earlier, and I told you earlier this week. I was like, I heard somewhere once. I can't remember what it was, and it might sound like cliche or something, but someone said this and it stuck. Don't pray for qualities. Don't pray for strength. Don't pray for patience. Don't pray for courage. Ask God for opportunities that will allow you to grow those traits.
Come on.
To grow
Yep.
courage, to grow patience, to
yeah.
grow, I don't know, whatever, strength.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the other night I was like, I've been reacting. Instead of stopping and thinking about what this situation, big or small, could be helping me become or strengthen, I've just been getting upset. And so I was like, God, please just help me to instead of
maybe even reacting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, just help me stop back and identify those moments as this is a chance for me to become more patient.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to embrace that more. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm sure other people probably have felt that way too. So, and I don't think people should feel ashamed of that, especially if you acknowledge it. You know that you're fighting it. Life's all about battles, man. It's all about like people, well, not people, things, influences, whatever they are, trying to get you to give up the good fight. And so
I mean, we see that in this chapter, don't we? We see all that evil and that negative.
Yeah. And
the voices. And
it's funny how you can rationalize that too, right? Like, I've been rationalizing feeling frustrated, and it's like, well, this is a frustrating circumstance. It's like, no, just stop.
Just call it what it is. Let's
treat it the way you would want it to be. You know, you would want to receive that same. So, well, that's what I've been trying.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I heard you say that earlier, and actually, even as I listen to you now, it makes me think like it's almost like you, when those moments pop up, before the mindset wasn't right, like you weren't looking at those as opportunities, and that now you're asking like, let me look forward to those moments. They're going to come, and when they do come, I want to meet those moments.
Let me perceive them maybe in a different.
And it's still hard, and it still takes a lot of work. But like, I found myself for the last couple of days being able to identify them and say, treat it with patience, or like use this as an opportunity to grow that, or to allow that to be grown within me. And so that's just been helpful. So if anyone else is like struggling with that, it's actually a very positive way to kind of deal with just feeling grumpy. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, it's just, the schedule has been crazy, but I'm excited for summertime. I'm excited to be with my friends. I'm excited to read this book.
Yeah.
I love being with my girls every day, playing games with them, like hearing them laugh together and form relationships with each other is crazy. I can't imagine what a third girl is going to add to the mix. It's just nuts. They're so funny. They're so cool. It's
pretty magical. I mean, you can see where I'm pointing, but our neighbor right across the way, she had said, you know, I just hear them out in the backyard laughing together, and it's the sweetest thing. Yeah. And so it's, sorry not to take away from what you're saying.
No, because sometimes perspective helps with it too. You get so stuck in a routine, and you're not seeing the forest for the trees. And
I mean, we realize we're pretty routine and scheduled, and just, you know, we're at the age where girls, I think for at least our girls, they benefit from that.
Sometimes it can drive you crazy.
Oh yeah, and we have like a smoothie time, and if it's like we don't do that, it's like then you get frustrated. You're like, we missed our smoothie today.
I told Sarah, I was like, did you ever think you would define your day by smoothie time, rest time? You know, it's just it's a change too.
Yeah.
And when he's not napping in the afternoon anymore, she's got quiet time. So I'm sure everyone's like, can we just get in and out?
I know. So
that's good. It's good to know. Yeah.
But it's
it's just a lot of
realities of, you know, our life, and so that's and your vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
You're vulnerable. Why can't I say
there.
that? Thank you for being vulnerable. There you go.
It's
nice
I
because
think your patience with me is amazing. So,
well, I just like final comment here, if you don't mind, on this whole thing is it's just as you said, it's a crazy time we're living in, and I get encouraged listening to other people, especially my friends, talk about the idea that like they're frustrated, they have things that they don't. We're not perfect. Right. I know that is cliche to say, right? But we're not, and we got to be okay with that, and we need to. Growth is a good thing, and like learning from mistakes and stuff is okay, and then seeing this, if we can, as opportunity, is the best way to look at it, because otherwise it's dark. It just seems like a bad, you know, sort of like, I don't know, negative time. Yeah. And I'd rather try to focus on the positive, friendship, things that we're learning from it, and then, you know, get better. But I don't know.
Amen.
Well said, my friend.
That's right.
Well said. Awesome. Okay, so we got some whispers we hear. We do actually have some things to talk about now. It's been a couple months, and there have been some things that have popped up. On a side note, so we know that one of the writers or story crafters is one of the guys who was in charge of Coco, right?
We have since seen all of Coco.
We've seen Coco like 20 million times now. Last time we recorded, we were like, well, we haven't really seen it. We've seen parts.
But it became Winnie's, like, for the last, last month and a half. It's been like her
her favorite. She talks about going to the land of the dead, and she pretends to be Miguel.
Right.
I give you my blessing.
I give you my blessing.
Wow.
But I have a contention that scene in the pit where Miguel and Hector realize that they're family.
Oh man, did you just ruin it for someone?
Spoiler alert! Sorry, I think it's like 3 years old, but yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, look forward to the scene. But it is, I think, the most profound scene in a Disney film ever.
In an animated film, yeah.
Maybe animated film ever.
Yeah.
Like it moves me so much. It's like 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even less. That just, I think, if you have to tell someone what Coco's about, it's right there.
Right.
And it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
It's what kids' movies should be. It's like it transcends children's movie. It's like I look at that and I'm like, if you can capture that in Narnia, I'm sold, man.
Right.
I'm sold. So I have a lot of faith in just someone who is, an active participant and creative influence in that movie. Also being involved in Narnia gives me a lot of like excitement and peace, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
good.
But Denise had some
Denise,
insight.
Of course, keeping us up to date on what's going on in the Facebook group. Despite so Narnia is still trending, right? All over the social media and stuff, and the show is still happening. Narnia Web, they released some kind of poll on Twitter. They're great. Narnia Web is amazing. We get our story summaries from them, and they're a great source for Narnia news. Douglas Gresham recently said that he prefers longer episodic series for Netflix's upcoming adaptation. And he said, quote, "I would like to put the entire book, every single nuance of it, on the screen."
Wow.
Which we'll talk about this later. I have the article pulled up, but he said that's one of the things that the movies, just by their nature, it was impossible to do, and he
Right.
always mourned that fact. So they asked, what do you prefer, Narnia movies, an episodic Narnia series, or both? Depends on the book.
Which we've talked about that.
We have talked about it, and Denise said we should make it a poll. I don't think we have made it a poll yet, but that's a great idea.
And what books? I mean, because I don't know them all.
that'd be a good
but
comments.
what-
Like which books would be good for episodes, like TV series
Which would be
versus a
good
film.
movies, yeah.
So Narnia movies got 21% of votes. An episodic Narnia series, so like a TV series, got 47%, and 32% said both. So I'm going to ask all of us. I almost said all three of you.
Well, there's a baby.
what would you prefer? So, Ez, would you like movies, a series, or both?
I would just like a series.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sarah?
Just a series.
I don't know the books well enough, I think, to say.
Which?
Right, but
Okay.
I think I agree. I think it's going to be impossible to have every single bit and piece. I'm
Yeah.
sure, that's a great dream. I don't know.
Even in a series.
Yeah, even in a series. Just
yeah.
because it depends on how you never know how many seasons you would get, that kind of thing.
Right.
True.
So you'd have to be careful, I guess. I don't know how producing works, but
That's true.
I think both would be cool. But I also like a series idea. Just keep it consistent.
Yeah, and I was thinking too. Like we've seen movies, we've
Right.
seen
Yes.
that. So like it would be kind of neat to see a TV. I would even feel like we can keep those movies separate. We could just do a TV show. That'd be great.
And you've heard me say this before. You've heard me say this before. Like when we were talking about the Lord of the Rings series on Amazon, there was some rumor at first that it was just going to be Lord of the Rings, like a remake. And at first I was like, what in the world? And then I thought, wait a minute. If you did this as a show, there's 6 books. You could have 6 seasons. You could have an episode would be a chapter.
Yep.
You could really unpack stuff
Dig
in the
into it.
book that is not dealt with. And I just think, I think a lot of TV shows based on other source material are able to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at even just some shows that are just created as shows. Some episodes are so slow, and you almost think, why do we need that? That was
Right.
a lot of setup.
Yep.
But in a book like this, where we know where that's kind of going, or we're attached to it even more, it's like set up as long
Yeah.
as you want.
Yeah.
Like give me every little detail
Yeah.
that you can. So
That's true.
I think if they could do that with but it would be interesting because some of the books might be better movies. Like you might be able to argue that Magician's Nephew might be
Yeah.
a better movie than a series. We've stretched it out over a year, but
Yeah.
some people might go, okay, let's go. It's a prequel. Let's get into it.
Well,
There's-
even our chapter rereads aren't as long as what you guys do for Lord of the Rings.
True.
You know, it's
true. The chapters aren't as long, so
they're not as long.
There's only so much I guess you could do, but. Yeah, so just an interesting conversation. What's it going to be? We know what Douglas Gresham prefers. So he recently spoke. He had a full interview with. Oh my gosh, what is it? Okay, well the article is on Narnia Web. I don't know who did the interview though, but that's okay. We can put the link somewhere and you can check it out and. It's just a wonderful. It's a great read. So, can you see it anywhere?
I'm not seeing it.
It was at a symposium. Okay. In Montreat, North Carolina.
Okay.
All right. So
last
anyway,
November, right?
Yeah, there you go. This was last November, and Denise said, this was done in November, but it's just now coming out. Kind of interesting and insightful. So, William O'Flaherty was the interviewer. He asked, would you like films? And a series. What does this mean? That Netflix has said they're doing a film and series. Does this mean episodes? And Douglas Gresham said, "I would love to be I'd love it to be an episodic thing because with a movie you have an hour, maybe two maximum if you really stretch it to put an entire book, an adventure story into film." He was saying that I would like to put the entire book, every single nuance of it on the screen, and I think we could make fantastic Narnia movies that way. But, you talk about the advantages of episodic streaming system. You can put the whole book up there if you really want. You could even, if you wanted to be stupid, he said you could add more, put more into it, right?
So was that his way of saying don't put more into it?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe his backhanded way of, or just kind of like, sly way of saying, you don't really need anything else extra in there. And maybe he's dealt with that before with Disney when they were made into movies. Like, that wasn't in the book.
Was there added?
Why did we need that?
Yeah.
We didn't really need that. He also had some comments on the Netflix deal. This is what we had heard before. The deal's done. I've not heard any word from them, so I can't tell you what's going on. I have no idea what's actually happening in their offices or what they're getting up to, so I can't answer any questions about that. I wish I could because I'm kind of getting worried myself as to whether anything is going to happen. So that we had talked about this before, and heard this kind of, it was sort of leaked almost before this came out. So again, it's kind of like with the Tom Shippey thing we were talking about. Like maybe Gresham's role isn't exactly, in reality, isn't what he's thinking it might be. I know that with the movies, he was really closely involved in developing and communicating ideas from C.S. Lewis, who was his stepdad.
He's an executive producer, correct?
Executive producer. Okay. So and so maybe they haven't gotten into anything that would necessarily pertain to him, or maybe I don't know, maybe they've heard from Disney that he might be like the best way to work with him. I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wonder too, the last few months of production, even though it's still going, it's just slowed down. Because they don't know when they're going to be able to work on things.
I was looking at this, like, if you look at the next point, go on down just a little bit where he's asked sort of like, if Netflix were here today, what, like, would you... Like, it looks like as if, like, would you go with the silver chair or would you reboot and go back to the beginning?
Yeah.
As if that was an
option.
I thought the whole time it was just like...
I thought so, too. So that's very revealing. Like, was this deal just to pick up and add on to the movies that were already there?
And so then, he says...
So interesting.
He says that would be entirely dependent upon the budget.
Yeah.
Well, so and two, like, how many seasons are you going to get? That kind of goes back to what kind
of commitment are you going to have to this thing, right? Because I guess I had never thought that they would just pick up where they left off either. I always thought it was going to be a start from scratch, as he says, carte blanche, to just begin again.
Adaptation.
A different adaptation. I'm still on team animation.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool to do the whole thing animated. You could do it in any kind of style you wanted, but it would just... Voice acting now is so amazing. Yeah. And you can get whoever you want.
Animation is
so
amazing.
good.
Yeah, it is.
And we've seen it live action, and it's great live action. Right. But I almost think I might prefer like an animated version. But so it's like you said, you pointed out, it's very interesting. It depends on the budget. It would take a massive budget, but I think Netflix, if they wanted to, they could definitely do it. But I do think it would be a huge advantage to be able to get every single nuance of the book into the film. He says, again, it would be much richer and much more entrancing. People would drop everything and dash to their screen.
Wow.
So,
can you refresh me real quick?
Yeah.
What movies, what Narnia movies do we have out?
We have 3.
Yeah.
We have the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I almost said the Chronicles of Narnia. Wow. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
We have Prince Caspian.
Yes.
And we have Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Which is your mom's favorite, correct?
My mom's favorite.
Okay.
Yes.
See,
Book.
I've seen all 3. Like
What's the most memorable for you?
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I just the other 2 I remember watching, leaving and not rewatching, and nothing
Yeah.
against them. I just don't remember rewatching them, and so
Yeah, I think that was most people's impressions. Like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was just. It seemed kind of the timing was good. It was out of nowhere, and it was just. At least I got sucked right in.
I loved it.
I felt the spirit was
Yeah.
what I had always thought that Chronicles of Narnia
Right.
was about, and then Prince Caspian was okay. A lot of people didn't like the way they did the Telmarines and how Prince Caspian was portrayed, and then the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. They tried to kind of fix some of those things.
right.
They all also had different. I think. Did they all have different directors, or was Voyage of the Dawn Treader was Michael Apted who directed that, and I think Andrew Adamson directed the other 2. Andrew Adamson was also famous for Shrek. He was the director of
Okay.
Shrek,
Okay.
the part of the Shrek series. So, yeah, I don't know if that also had something to do with it. But
Okay. I just think it's interesting because like I see your next point that's coming up about in 2017. I think you have a point there, right? About an actress that was going to play a role.
Millie Bobby Brown was I
Wow.
thought she would be interesting as Polly.
Yeah.
You know, she's like amazing in Stranger Things.
Yep.
She is,
She's really good.
Yeah, captivating actress.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe the age might be right to play
Right.
Polly. But in 2017, she was offered the role of Jill Pole in The Silver Chair. I think they were going to do a Silver Chair Last Battle.
Combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So
that's just crazy. Like I guess the more I think about this, I always thought it was going to be we're starting from scratch, but to
Right.
hear Gresham say we don't know, I've heard nothing.
Yeah.
It depends on the budget.
Right.
That means we just have no idea. I think they're just sitting on this thinking about what is the right time.
Yeah.
When do we want to do this? I mean, that they're
Yeah.
planning this out because they want it to land. Because the other thing is, I don't know that Netflix wants this to come out against
Compete with something.
Lord of the Rings,
Right.
Wheel of Time, and the HBO new Game of Thrones prequel.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that's different, but like that would be their competing piece, though.
Yeah, they would be.
It's like come to Netflix and watch
Sure.
this. Come watch Narnia,
Right.
Which I think would be good. So careful now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
makes sense.
Timing, and then also what because remember when we first started talking about the show, it was like how dark is it going to be?
Yeah.
So even tone is
Right.
going to be something that they have to consider and try and figure out.
And
But
see if they wanted to go toe to toe with those guys. I think sometimes you want to do something different, not
Different.
something similar. So
and that's why I think animation would set it apart even more.
Yeah.
The rest of those are going to be live action.
right.
I don't know. I mean, how many adults watched the Clone Wars this last season? That's an animated show.
That's right.
With a lot of drama
Right.
and a lot of suspense and a
Because-
lot of action.
Right, because a lot of adults loved Star Wars originally and all that kind of stuff. A
Right.
lot of adults read
And
the
love
Chronicles
these
of Narnia,
stories.
grew up with these
Yeah.
Absolutely.
stories. So you're going to go watch it. You're going to let your kids, that you want your kids to watch that.
Right. Exactly.
I think you're right. It actually would probably be a really big sell. I mean, it'd be a
Netflix,
big
if you're
success.
listening, we kind of want animated.
Right.
Go
If you-
go the Coco route.
If you
We're
need
in.
voice actors, let us know.
You got 3 right here.
Let us know.
That's right.
All right. Well, let's get into The Lion Roars. Let us know what you think about that kind of stuff. There's great conversation going on in the Facebook group. I haven't been on Facebook, but I got in there today to kind of pick up those links that Denise left, and there's just great stuff. I mean, Christopher Michael leaving gems, and just it's wonderful. You guys are a great community, and cool. A lot of comparisons between Tolkien and Lewis and stuff. I love it. It's
Yeah.
great. Beautiful
Yeah.
community.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right.
Is this me?
Yeah, you got
Do
a
I
summary
read the
for us?
summary? Sure.
Are you playing music, young man?
What was that?
I just have to say, Amanda is alive and well this evening. Like,
Yes, it
Beautiful,
is.
isn't it?
isn't it?
Yeah.
We were commenting the other night about how it just seemed really quiet
quiet,
out.
yeah.
And it was like a nice warm day, but maybe it's because it's cooler that everyone's out.
It's not.
tonight.
I was to say people are out doing everything. It's great. It's actually good. Why wouldn't
perfect.
you? It's
It
great.
feels good. Good for the soul. All right. So
Perfect.
after toffee tree breakfast, the children and Fledge make the second leg of their journey to find the garden. Upon arrival, Fledge waits outside because they feel that Diggory is the only one allowed to go in. Once Diggory has gotten what he comes for, he sees the witch and runs for the edge of the garden. The witch tries to convince Diggory to take it for himself, and she almost succeeds until she says to leave Polly behind. What do they say? That was her grave mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was.
interesting. Yeah, I kind of honestly forgotten that there was that big tempt. So we were the conversation from earlier kind of does mesh in. There's that temptation, right? It's like, hey, and it's so funny how it can be rationalized, right? Like, this is the right. Come on, this is the right choice.
But what held him accountable? His mom
Yeah.
and the thought of leaving a friend behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's been confronted with that temptation like before. Like, just leave Polly, right?
Yeah.
Uncle Andrew said the same thing. I mean, he even said it, if we're getting technical, at the very beginning where he says, fine, you'll just leave her to die. I hope you can explain it to her mother while she'll
Yeah.
never be coming home for dinner again. And that actually
Right.
provoked him to go and save, I mean, obviously he was going to go save her anyway, but yeah.
Right.
Interesting how that theme comes up time and time again. So we're into chapter 13, an unexpected
We were so close to the end.
meeting. I know,
I'm
it's very
sorry.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's very
I know,
exciting.
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I don't know what happens, by the way. In the end.
Me neither.
I have no idea. So
Isn't that great?
I know there's another book.
I actually started to listen to the next chapter, and I thought, don't do it. Don't do it. We're like, just
Do whatever you want, young man.
no. I legitimately was like, it was exciting because I was like, I want to know what happens at the end of this. Like, this is something. So
Okay, so we have a really cool moment. We're woken up. I think last time we had planted that was it the toffee candy or wrapper?
Yes.
The candy, right?
I believe.
Yeah, and they had gone to bed, and we're woken up by Polly, who says, "Wake up, Diggory! Wake up, Fledge! It a toffee tree has sprouted up. Like, it has turned into one." There's a beautiful description of the morning. I mean, it's worth reading. I'm just going to do it. The low early sunshine was streaming through the wood, and the grass was gray with dew, and the cobwebs were like silver. Just beside them was a little, very dark wooded tree about the size of an apple tree. The leaves were whitish and rather papery. Can't you just imagine this? Like the herb called honesty, and it was loaded with little brown fruits that looked rather like dates. So, they're rejoicing. This is like great, but they're going to go take a dip first. Diggory rushes out, and C.S. Lewis, I kind of wanted to ask, I think it's actually our Turkish delight, but just think about this. If you've ever had a different type of bathing experience, because we're going to talk about that later, okay?
yeah.
So he asked the question, have you ever bathed in a mountain river that is running in shallow cataracts over red and blue and yellow stones with the sun on it? It's as good as the sea, in some ways, almost better. Of course, he had to dress again without drying, but it was well worth it. I just think, like, how many of us have that moment of, like, just taking an unexpected dip, and yeah, you're wet, and your clothes are wet, but it was such a spontaneous, like, magic, and the water was cool.
Oh yeah.
And the setting was perfect. Like, if there was a lake or stream nearby right now, I'd go jump in it.
Right.
Ooh.
It's that kind of a night.
It is. It actually is.
Should we
And
fill up the kiddie pool and get in there?
Stick our toes in at least.
We might go into another world. But so he's got a great bath. I mean, they're just like this brand new world is open before them, and they're finding the beauty in it. It's really
That's right.
kind of unexpected if you think about it.
Yeah.
So
Polly goes down.
yeah,
right?
he comes back, and Polly goes and has her bath, and Fledge also visits the river, just stands in it, gets some mouthfuls of water, shakes his mane, does some neighs, as horses do.
Looking forward to that toffee tree.
Yeah, then they go to work on the toffee tree.
Mm-hmm.
We went to work on some steak and pork earlier.
Well,
We went to work on it.
Oh, I love it.
you know what? Like, this is so weird. I don't know what's wrong with me, but like, I didn't think about it last chapter, but I thought, how many carbs? I'm serious. Like, how many carbs? Probably a lot.
Would be in a piece of toffee.
Toffee.
You can probably look that up.
There's no way it's keto friendly.
It's probably a lot.
I'm going to say that.
I don't think they were too worried about it.
No. The fruit was delicious. Not exactly like toffee. Softer for one thing and juicy, but like fruit, which reminded one of toffee. So really kind of cool to think that it didn't imitate. Well, it did. It imitated. It didn't become toffee. It was a fruit that like imitated toffee.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me think of a grapple. What are they called?
Oh, yeah.
A
And
grape flavored apple. Oh, cotton candy grapes. Oh, cotton candy grapes.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Plant
Have you ever had cotton candy grapes?
I think you guys had them
Yeah,
one time.
yeah.
You maybe have one.
made you
Tastes
have
like cotton
one.
candy. We're
Can't
grapes. Yeah.
No, can't now. No way.
Anyways,
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Plant a little wisp of it and see what grows up. Fledge has a good breakfast. He tried the toffee fruits, but grass was more his thing. The grass there in Narnia, so who knows what that tasted like. You could probably eat
so
it.
good.
Eat it as a person. Even better than yesterday. I
I love that.
Partly because everyone was feeling so fresh, and partly because the newly risen sun was at their backs. And of course, everything looks nicer when the light is behind you.
How good is a good night's sleep?
Yeah.
You get up, you're rested, you're clean, you're ready to go for the day. You got some delicious fruit.
Actually,
Or meat in your case.
No, like a good breakfast too. Like you're
Good
set
breakfast.
and you're ready to go. And I haven't been a big breakfast guy, but since keto, since all this stuff, and you were telling me
Open that window
like,
strong.
Open that window with a big breakfast,
Yep.
and you really do feel better. You feel
You
so
do.
much better. You're like, let's go.
Powers you for the whole
Well,
day.
I mean, because they have a big journey ahead of them, but it doesn't
Yeah.
say that. Like they haven't even thought about that necessarily at this point. So
it is interesting how they're kind of in a moment of like tranquility, and it
Euphoria,
almost
kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they're not even really thinking about, like yesterday, the day prior wasn't treacherous, it was just filled with unknowns.
Yeah.
And it's like Aslan knew they were going to need something along the way, and whether he
Yeah.
whether he guided them to this or they just found it because it was the world he created.
it took some of those anxieties away too for just a little bit,
Yeah,
maybe even.
yeah, definitely. It was a wonderful ride. The big snowy mountains rose above them in every direction. The valleys far below them were so green, and all the streams which tumbled down out of the glaciers into the main river were so blue that it was like flying over gigantic pieces of jewelry.
Make you think of New Zealand?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yes, it does. They would have liked this part of the adventure to go on longer than it did. You know, I don't know. I just think about like trips you have where you're like, this could go on forever, and I'd be fine.
Driving past Lake Superior in Canada. That
Yes.
stretch of where you can just, you know, do you have a trip like that?
Yeah.
There's a stretch
Oh, yeah.
of road where you just want it to keep going.
You have
Oh,
lots of
yeah.
roads you like driving on.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, no, that's really interesting. Because the thought that popped in my mind was when I was headed towards the Rockies,
Oh
when
yeah.
you could see them way off, and you're just like, wow. And as you get closer, and go, it's awesome. But you almost like want to go back and just like it's that
Do it
journey
again.
there.
Take it all in,
You're like,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Wish
Yeah.
the road was a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So soon they were all sniffing the air. Don't forget the sniffing. And saying, "What is it? Do you smell something?" And of course, you're thinking a garden, right? You're going to
Yeah.
smell a garden far off, especially if it's filled with, you know, who knows what.
Ripe fruits.
Yeah, ripe fruits, herbs, flowers. Even I'm thinking it's aromatic. A garden is a strong garden is very aromatic. So for a heavenly smell, warm and golden, as if from the most delicious fruits and flowers of the world, was coming up to them from somewhere ahead. So they're really literally following their nose. I mean, they know what to look for, but the smell
Was that told to them to like
is
look-
helping them.
Like I don't know that they were like I was in the direction.
And it was past the mountains, I think, right?
Yeah, he told them like what features they were going
Right.
to see, right? But not the smell.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? You
Kind of
get there-
interesting.
You can't
Always
yeah.
follow your nose, Peregrine Duke.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right, that's
It's like I
right.
just go back to that. Follow. People say that. Trust your nose. Follow your nose.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Trying to find it, but I don't see anything.
Yeah,
or at least just
it was just the direction, like the features to look for. I think.
think so.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a great point. Maybe he may have mentioned something. I can't
Well, it's
remember.
the things that you find along the way, you know. Like you're told about a place, and like I've been told about places in Scotland when we go there.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining like, what am I going to see that I can tell someone else? Like you're going to love this part of it that I
Yeah.
wasn't told about. You
like
know,
almost like the intangibles. I should talking to one mic. The intangibles, like
Yeah.
the smells, the way, like right now, we can't communicate the smells we have.
No.
The way the wind feels, the way
That
the
wood
lighting.
burning. Yep.
It's just yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect for today. So they realize, you know, there's a green hill far end of a lake. Look how blue the water is. It must be the place, said all three. I wanted to, they say that all at the same time. You know, there's the number 3 again, freaking
Yeah.
me out. I didn't even realize, I don't think, that there were 3 of them until reading this chapter. I was like, oh my gosh, there it is again.
Right.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt for just
Yeah,
a second?
yeah,
Because I found Aslan's directions. Now,
Yeah.
the land of Narnia ends where the waterfall comes down, and once you have reached the top of the cliffs, you will be out of Narnia and into the western wild. You must journey through those mountains till you find a green valley with a blue lake in it, walled round by mountains of ice. At the end of the lake, there is a steep green hill. On the top of that hill, there is a garden. In the center of that garden is a tree. Pluck an apple from that tree and bring it back to me. So
So no smell was mentioned.
no, they knew after the mountains with ice, at the end of the lake, there was a hill, and on top of the hill, there was a garden.
And I'm just putting this together that the waterfall they were bathing in, right, was the end of Narnia.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where they spent the night.
We're not in Narnia anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I just
Toto,
realized
I mean,
that's where they spent the night on the edge of Narnia. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together. That's so cool.
I'm glad you reread that because I was like, we're not in Narnia.
Also,
Like, wow,
Do you think maybe
that's cool.
would you still have a sense of peace knowing you were in Narnia?
Yeah, maybe that's
they
part
woke
of
up
that place was
more euphoric, nonchalant,
totally.
relaxed.
Yeah, because we're about to step, off.
into the unknown.
Yeah, into this. Yeah. Wow.
I wish Winnie and Charlotte were here.
Seriously.
Start singing.
Dancing.
Oh gosh.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Yeah. So he starts. Fledge starts doing. He's a much better flyer, man. He has improved so much. He's doing his circles, wide circles that get closer and closer together as they come down towards the ground. The air came up warmer and sweeter every moment. So sweet that it almost brought the tears to your eyes. So he lands a little awkwardly, but much better than before. The children roll off and fall without hurting themselves. They're getting a game plan down, man. They are quite a team. So they were 3/4 of the way up the hill, set out at once to climb to the top. And I don't think that Fledge would have managed this without his wings to balance him. So we're thinking that, this isn't like an easy walk. Like, this is something that
No.
kind of difficult to reach, this garden. Their leaves showed so think about the branches that hung out over the wall. Let me go back. Sorry. All around the very top of the hill ran a high wall of green turf. Inside the wall, trees were growing. So this is describing the garden.
Yes.
Their branches hung out over the wall. Their leaves showed not only green, but also blue and silver when the wind stirred them. When the travelers reached the top, they walked nearly all the way around it outside the green wall. Before they found the gates. High gates of gold, fast shut, facing due east.
Okay.
Just interesting. Facing east, the sun rising, a new day.
Golden.
So,
Also, I wonder how hidden these gates were. Like, when I imagine them, I think like you're going to be able to find them, but it's going to take some searching, obviously.
Well, yeah. They said would they to walk around
Walk all the way around.
Yeah.
So interesting that most gardens there's a clear entry.
Is it at the back side of the garden,
That's what
which
I
is
was-
really
that's
where
what
the
I was
entrance
wondering.
is?
Because I'm trying to think. Weren't they coming from?
Did they enter it from the west?
Yeah.
Or the north or something? Have to walk all the way around? Or yeah, good question.
I don't know.
Good question, but a really cool description. You can definitely visualize that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they had this idea that they were all going to go in together, right?
Right.
But
Right.
without saying anything, they no longer had that.
They didn't think that was maybe a great
Yeah,
idea.
they didn't think that was going to be that wasn't going to be the case. They felt almost that this is an obviously private place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The line is so only a fool would dream of going in unless he had been sent there on very special business.
Right. And the one who was sent is Diggory, obviously. Right. That's who Aslan gave the charge to. But it's just amazing how they just saw the place and they thought, yeah, we know.
Right.
We know. There's like this innate, almost like natural sense that, okay, this is a private place. Almost like you have to have it's just funny how they, without speaking words.
I'll say, it doesn't say that they spoke anything, right?
No, without speaking words, they came to that deduction, which is just kind of cool. Very cool. So maybe an element of the world, maybe an element of them just spending so much time together that they're knowing each other very, very well, especially Polly and Diggory. Or maybe it's just the place, like the place is imparting knowledge on you somehow.
Well, because it says too, Diggory himself understood at once that the others wouldn't and couldn't come in with him.
Wow. Yeah. So what would happen if they did? That's just, again, Lewis says so much that you can just kind of muse on forever. We could talk about that line for, couldn't. What does that mean? Couldn't come in? Wow. Okay.
But he had a feeling.
Just had a feeling. And again, we're getting to one of these places where it's just like almost kind of monumental. I think about the bell. The bell was kind of akin to this, but in a much different way. It caused fear and dread instead of an idea of like respect and reverence.
Yeah.
It's just cool how he builds these places. I mean, a bell, there's nothing special about it. A garden, there's nothing special about it. But he's making them like iconic memories for us.
Magic, like it's a magical moment.
Magical places.
It's
It's just very cool.
Right.
Oh, yeah, so we see some words written on...
the door, right?
Excuse me. Woo. On the gold.
Right on cue.
Silver letters they want to get into. something that said something like this. All right, so this also makes me wonder, was it in a different language, or is it just like paraphrasing because Diggory's trying to remember? Come in by the gold gates or not at all. Take of my fruit for others or forbear. For those who steal or those who climb my wall shall find their heart's desire and find despair.
Well,
Heavy
so
stuff.
yeah, so I mean, you find your heart's desire and find despair, both.
And that's if you steal.
That's if you steal.
Right.
Yeah. So don't climb the walls, but you could enter here if you wanted to, as long as you were getting something for someone else.
Somebody else. So this place honors service.
Right.
Honors givers and not takers.
I guess, and I'm just gonna be kind of whatever here. I like. So can you take more than one?
Be yourself.
Guys, can you take more than one thing from this? Can you only take one? Because it
Take
seems like
of my fruit.
Because fruit can be plural, right?
Well, and I.
Yeah,
Is it
take-
fruit? Fruit is plural.
Okay, so and also
Fruits-
how is? I mean, okay, so you just this garden. We don't know. Is there someone watching? You know what I'm saying? Is there someone watching over? Is there someone? Is there something that will happen immediately if you take it and bite it there?
Yeah.
Or is there something that will happen if you take it and fly away with it and eat it? Do you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah. Well, so that's what I'm saying. But I'm starting to wonder. Like the rules seem like you can come in here, come in by the Golden Gate or not at all. So
you
basically,
can't climb up over the top.
basically, come in by the Golden Gate or that's it, buddy. There's no other way in and out.
Follow the rules in.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to be a thief.
Exactly. Because
If you climb the walls, you're a thief.
So
You're stealing.
take of my fruit for others or forbear.
What's forbear? Okay, what would you say? What forbear?
Well, that's like if you like like a black bear or a brown bear or a grizzly. If you're getting it for a bear. I think that just means to carry, doesn't it? To forbear. That's where I don't know, guys.
You mean to look up what forbear means?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Because
Want to?
I'm just trying to understand it in this sense, like the way this is being worded.
For others
So,
or to carry. I think just like not to consume, right? It's not for you.
yeah. Take of my fruit for others. Right. Okay.
Politely or patiently restrain an impulse to do something.
There you go.
Refrain. He
Aha.
modestly forbears to include his own work.
Right. So take of my
Refrain.
fruit for others or restrain or otherwise
Or
restrain
don't.
restrain yourself.
okay.
Yeah.
Refrain from doing or
Just
using
come in and
something.
sniff.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Sorry.
Okay.
No,
For
thank
the-
you.
Yeah, no, that actually, because I'm trying to get the rules
'Cause it
here,
gets
because I want to know
right,
what I
right.
can, when I go in this garden, I want to know what I can take, you know what I'm saying?
Very true.
So, for those who steal or those who climb my wall shall find their heart's desire and find despair. Doesn't actually say what you're getting if you come in and you take fruit for. It doesn't really tell you what that actually is.
Yeah.
That's what we learn a little bit later, like maybe what the power or the magic behind those fruits.
Yes.
But as long as you're not coming for as long as you're not coming for selfish reasons,
The intentions of your heart.
yeah, then you're okay.
I love that we're sitting here thinking the exact same things essentially that Diggory's thinking. Because he says, take of my fruit for others. Well, that's what I'm going to do. It means I
Right.
mustn't eat any myself, I suppose. I don't know what all that jaw on the last line is about. Came in by the gold gates. Well, who'd want to climb a wall if he could get in by a gate? That's what I would think too.
Yeah.
But how do the gates open?
So this is where I had a
Wow.
question. I want to know what you guys thought. He laid his hand on them, and instantly they swung apart, opening inwards, turning on their hinges without the least noise. So are they left unlocked, or are they intelligent?
Like they feel his presence and then they...
And his intentions, maybe.
Yeah, I think they do. And let me just
But it could be either, though, couldn't it? I mean,
Well, you could have bad intentions but still go in and steal a piece.
yeah, because you could go in and eat it and not
Right.
not show forbearance. As we
But still go in by the gates.
still going by
Right.
the gates.
but then you find despair if
Right.
you go in there for
Yes.
other reasons.
So are they intelligent? You think the gates they open on their own
Yeah.
accord, or were they just left unlocked?
No, I think either way that they're like if you're going in to ruin that place or destroy or war, they might be barred against you. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
guessing,
maybe.
but like I think one way or the other, you're allowed to get in here.
Sure.
If you're just going in for the fruit, maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But
I think
how-
they're unlocked. If you can climb
Okay.
over it
Yeah.
and you have that opportunity,
Good point. Why lock them?
why lock it?
That's a good point.
True.
That's
Yeah,
a
it'd be
good
like-
point. But
yeah.
then what's the? But then what?
I don't.
Then what's the point? Sorry. Like if they're, I'm sorry. I was thinking like
No, I get you.
Like if you can climb over the wall,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's basically, why would you climb over the wall if the gates are unlocked?
Maybe you didn't know where the gates were.
Okay, maybe you couldn't find them. Yeah.
Maybe you weren't curious enough, or maybe they are barred against you.
Yeah, maybe.
And then
So-
you say,
Yeah.
then you just say, oh, well, whatever, I'm gonna climb over anyways.
Right.
They're locked.
This is fascinating. So
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that question.
hear me out on this, Sarah.
Okay.
I want to see what you think about this. So I was thinking more. Can I jump around a little bit because I think it's
Absolutely.
important.
Please do.
I think it's important right here to talk about.
Do you have
this.
enough room?
Yeah.
To jump around.
Do you want us to play the song for you?
It was playing earlier on my phone. I think a little accident there. But like, so Diggory. Because what I'm getting to is like he takes one piece of fruit. I started thinking to myself, well, why wouldn't he just take a second one? Because it wouldn't be for him. But then I thought it would be. He would be taking it for himself, because his mother says like would tell him, like it tells us something about death, right? That I wanted my mother to stay. But her creator wanted her to go back home, you know, and so, you know what I'm saying. So like
Yeah.
I was, I'm trying to get choked up, but like I was thinking about it and I was just like, wow, because that's why I started this whole like slowdown. I was like, why doesn't he just take two pieces of fruit, take one for Aslan, take one for his mother, and it's like literally the tears of Aslan that like stop him from doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, there's more. Let me think through this for a second, because it is like there's a reason. Like death, like there things can be gained, I guess, in like through loss and death. You know?
Oh yeah.
And so all this is really hard for Diggory. I think even if he would have taken that fruit for, maybe you say it's not for him, but it really is.
Yeah.
Right.
It really is for. He would be taking it for himself,
Right.
even though you're saying what's for his mother.
But it's
No.
because he wants his mother to live.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And
wow,
maybe that's not what, like you're saying, not what the plan
yeah,
according to higher
Right.
power is.
exactly.
Yeah. God,
And
yeah.
that's where I thought back to Aslan's tears. I was like, Aslan knows that this is one of those things that you can't alter and change because it's a part of this like ordained plan. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a part of life, and it's
Don't you think also, like, he doesn't know what Aslan is going to use it for?
Right.
right.
And that's also part of, like, if he takes two,
yeah,
then he's telling Aslan, I don't have faith in you. I don't trust you.
yeah, yep,
I don't know what you're going to do with this one, but I know there's no way you'd give it to my mom.
I have this backup plan.
Right. So this
Yeah.
is me taking my destiny in my own hands.
yeah,
Versus the lion asked for one, I'll take one, and I'll trust that somehow it all will be okay.
Yes.
Because I'm doing what I was asked to do.
right,
By someone who clearly is out of this world.
yeah,
Which is what his mom in his own mind reminds him of.
Right.
That I was asked to do this one thing. Let's stick to that.
that's
Yeah.
right. It's his mother's upbringing that keeps him like straight, like on the straight and narrow, if you will. I mean, he's
Yep.
supposed to get one. He was tasked with this. He made a promise that he would, and he's going to keep that. So yeah, that's
Even if what does Jada say? Even if
Yeah.
no one needs to know.
No one
Just
would need to
leave-
know,
Just
yeah.
leave now.
yeah.
You guys are,
So
So I don't know. Just
you guys are, do you need me anymore? I can just leave.
but no, I just
It's
want you.
amazing. Like, I'm just loving just sitting here
Right?
listening. This is great.
I just because it was because I read this on the way back. I listened on the way down here, but I had listened before, and I had that thought originally, and this is why I always love talking to you guys, because I was like, hey, you should just grab two. But then I thought about it longer, and I thought more about what it meant to me and why you wouldn't do that, why I wouldn't have grabbed two either, you know? So, you okay?
That leaf. It's not the fall. It ain't
Uh-oh.
autumn.
Uh-oh.
Man, look at the sky. Talk about
It's beautiful.
cotton
Isn't this
candy.
crazy? It's beautiful.
I wish we could. Is there a way to like do a 360 camera? I mean, like it's just inspiring to be out
beautiful.
here. I love you guys. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Um,
You too, buddy.
So he goes in. He went in very solemnly.
I feel like I should say I love you too. Of course, you know that.
That's
Okay.
okay. You don't.
It was a given.
Okay.
It was a given.
I love you, guys. Okay, that's a big meatball. But yeah, he realizes now that it's even more serious than ever. Like it's a more serious place than he even thought it would be on the outside. He comes in, and he's like, "Wow, okay, I was right," and even more so. Went in very solemnly, very quiet. Even the fountain made only a faintest noise. Lovely smell all around him, and it was happy place, but very serious. We don't always put those two things together. We think happy has to be kind of like, ridiculous, but happy and serious can go together, and often do, in the best of ways. So he knew which tree was the right one.
That's right.
Which is also amazing, and also what Aslan kind of, sort of implied to him as well. He would know. Partly because it stood in the very center, and partly because the great silver apples with which it was loaded shone so and cast a light of their own down on the shadowy places where the sunlight did not reach. Just imagine this tree.
I have a beautiful illustration in my book. Do you have this one?
I don't, but I love that is beautiful. My favorite is that cover. It's in the doc. If you guys look in the doc, I put the cover of one of the versions.
Of the Magician's Nephew,
and it's like the same kind of idea. It's just done in this colored pencil. It's beautiful. But yeah, this would be something you could try to capture as an artist for a long time. Yeah. Goes in the shadowy places, walks straight across to it, picked up an apple, put it in his left breast pocket of his jacket.
Wait, what type of jacket was it?
In the breast pocket
of
his Norfolk jacket.
So it's capital. I was like, does Lane know about that jacket?
I know. Yeah, actually, surprisingly, I don't. I was like, Norfolk. I'd have to look that up. But we were talking about barbers earlier, and I said, Ez, I want to do a video series on why everyone should own a barber jacket, and how I can help them find the barber for them. I know what he would wear. He would be in a Badal or a Beaufort. One of those two.
Idea.
And I can't wait to show you a picture because you're going to go, I need this for Scotland.
Okay. And
Get me another for my dad.
I'll look up a Norfolk jacket after this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, young lady.
He couldn't help
couldn't help looking at it and smelling it before he put it away. So there's a temptation there, right? Because
it would have been better if he had not.
Yep. Lewis tells us that there's this crazy thirst and hunger that comes over him, and this longing to taste the fruit, right? Someone says, hey, don't touch the stove. I want to touch the stove.
Right.
Right? Don't taste the fruit. Why? Is it good?
Right.
Why don't I want to taste the fruit? No, I didn't say that you shouldn't want to. I said you shouldn't. Puts it in his pocket, and there are plenty of others. Could it be wrong to taste one? So we have this inner monologue, these questions. Why? Why would it be wrong? Could he do it? Who cares about, it may have only been a bit of advice that Aslan had given him. Who cares about advice? Or even if it were in order, would he be disobeying it by eating an apple? He'd already obeyed the part about taking one for others. So can I obey and then disobey?
So
and
maybe
it's not a big deal?
eating is not stealing? Is that what he's thinking? Because he's just technically
taking
it.
And if he did what he was asked, now can I do whatever?
Or he's not taking it from the garden.
Yeah, and that's where you get into all those people.
Oh, yeah.
I ate my veggies. Can I pound a cheesecake?
Right. And this gets into the spirit of like people getting into technicalities and saying, well, technically that's right. It's like, no, let's look at the spirit of things. Let's look at like the moral of something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The moral implications. Absolutely. So he's having this conversation, and it's
he looks up, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, this is the bird. I'm sorry. Wow, I had forgotten about this. There on a branch above his head, a wonderful bird was roosting. I say roosting because it seemed almost asleep. Perhaps not quite. The tiniest slit of one eye was open.
I'm scared. That makes me very anxious, very nervous.
Yeah. It was larger than an eagle, breast of saffron, head crested with scarlet, and its tail purple. And it just shows, said Diggory afterwards when he was telling this others, that you can't be too careful in these magical places. You never know what may be watching you. But, Lewis says, I don't think that he would have taken an apple in any case. So this is making me think of, I just had my last Zoom with my class, and one of my students got me a sign the very first, on opening night, like an opening night, or open house. Night present. Like, you never get presents on opening house night, or what?
Open house. Meet the teacher night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to school. But she got me a sign that says, "Do the right thing even when no one is looking." And I hung it up on my board, and I would reference that thing all year long. I'd be like, "Guys, I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what occurred. I can't figure out what's going on because you're telling me different stories."
Right.
But what do we always say? What do we always remember? Do the right thing even when no one is looking, when I'm not around, when no teacher's around. When you look around and do this,
Yep.
and you're about to do something, it probably means if you saw someone when you watching you wouldn't do it.
That's right.
So don't do it. Don't do it. But that is the hardest thing because it's that inner voice, right? The demon on this side and the angel on the other, and the demon whispers to you and says, no one's looking. It's almost
that
like
manipulation.
It doesn't exist if no one sees it.
Yep.
And so that's what we're getting here, this idea that, but it's nice that we know that, or like to think that he wouldn't have taken it. And this is where we get about, his mother's teachings, and just even Lewis talks about the world in general, then that, things like do not steal, I think were hammered into boys' heads a good deal harder in those days than they are now.
And do you think Lewis is saying that, like, when he is pinning that, like, is actually thinking about the current time that he's in and thinking back to what in his youth, thinking like
totally
times are different now.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I guess I said that, he reassured us, but he still says, we can never be certain. We can never know. Like, would he have taken one if he hadn't have seen that bird watching him?
Mm-hmm.
So just great. I mean, again, you could spend hours on just that.
Yeah.
What would you do? The moral of the situation, all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a terrible shock, and it's almost like this. It was good that he saw this bird because it snapped him out of that temptation, and it drew his attention to the fact that he wasn't alone. He got a terrible shock.
Yep.
There, just a few yards away from him, is the witch. And you almost kind of wonder, was the bird opening its eyes as a warning?
Oh.
Did it also see the witch? And was it a signal to Diggory, or was it just observing the fact that, hey, there's someone else in here who has, its intentions have awoken me? Or maybe it was the battle going on in Diggory's own heart and mind that awoke the bird, caused it to look. But anyway, regardless, we see the witch, and she's got this terrible, she's throwing away a core of an apple she just eaten. No problem. And there's this dark juice that has stained the area around her mouth, darker than you would expect.
Yeah.
So not good.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you eat the apple with good intentions, is that still the color juice you see?
No, it's not. Guaranteed it's not.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Yep. I think it depends. Again, it's all magical, and that is very symbolic. Or it's that imagery is telling us something.
Yeah.
There that like that was taken, and to consume it, if you take it and consume it yourself, which is I think the situation Diggory was in, like trying to be technical about that.
Right.
No, even though you took it for somebody else, you gave it to yourself.
Yeah.
You
Right.
ate it. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Even if you talk about yourself in the third person like Jadis does.
Yeah, exactly. So, to me, that her eating that
Broke all the laws.
broke all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's Aslan doesn't go get it because that breaks the law. Aslan needs it, but he sends someone else. That's the whole point.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
like Aslan's like super, I mean, Aslan. So
Yeah. He is Aslan.
he's
I
the
love-
boss.
Yeah. I love that it says that he guessed that she must have climbed over the wall. Like, she broke the rule that
Yeah.
was easiest for him to be like, well, of course I'm going to go in through the gate.
Yeah.
And of course she would. She would break every law, wouldn't she? I mean, that just makes sense.
Yeah.
And also the line starts to make sense about getting your heart's desire and getting despair along with it. He looks at her stronger and prouder than ever, and even in a way triumphant, but her face was deadly white as salt. So it's kind of cool how we see the transformation of, well...
No, I kind of know now because I did.
Yeah, so the next book, Jadis is
Right.
the White Witch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're starting to see that transformation physically.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when we started this book series, though. It took me a bit, and I think we talked about it in one of our episodes, and I was like,
Isn't that cool?
I was on the way down, and I was like, wait a second. Is
Right,
this
right.
like the witch?
The witch.
And you were like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It makes it-
I
isn't
thought
it-
that
yeah.
people might have thought that was obvious. I did not know that.
No, yeah, I
was-
mean, it's a magical world. There's going to be witches everywhere, and it's not, no, it's not obvious.
So would her heart's desire be she's stronger and prouder than ever, but her despair is that she's devoid, like her.
Her beauty's almost
well, and her
gone
right, because then they say she was so beautiful that they couldn't look away, and
that's
and
right.
even just
yep.
I think like when you are exhausted, sometimes you have a way about I don't know.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, like her physical beauty is almost kind of struck from her in a way, or just changed even.
Yeah, I mean, and that it just. Because I think her face was deadly white as salt. I think maybe she's probably not looking happy in the slightest.
Yeah, no.
That's what I mean.
And just scarier. Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. So this happens all in a few seconds. All these thoughts kind of flash by, and he starts to run. Right, and the witch comes after him. The gates close behind him of their own accord, which is interesting. All right.
Well, so there we go.
Yeah, there you go. I guess
of their own
maybe
accord.
it's both, but yeah, there you go. They're intelligent gates. But they gave him a lead, but not for long. He starts yelling, "Get up, Polly! Get up, Fledge! Let's get out of here! Stay where you are!" cried Diggory, turning around to face her. "Or we'll all vanish. Don't come an inch nearer." So again, this power of the rings comes into play.
Yeah, keep forgetting they have rings, right?
Right.
Like,
I as a reader keep forgetting. It's like this. Yeah. It's this ace they have in their pocket the whole time. "Foolish boy.
Yeah.
Why do you run from me? I mean you no harm. If you do not stop and listen to me now, you will miss some knowledge that would have made you very happy all your life." She knows how to play him.
Yeah.
This is exactly what got him with the bell.
Yep.
Diggory's fear is missing out on something that he could have known. And I think, whoa, dude.
That's true.
That's like me a little bit. I relate to it this way because what do I have a hard time doing? Every night.
Sleeping?
Going to sleep. Because in my head, ever since I was a boy, there's this fear that something big is going to happen.
Fear of missing out
as
kind
soon
of
as
thing.
I guess that's exactly what it is.
Or even just like in the world, just...
Is that Fledge?
All right.
As soon as I go to sleep, I'm afraid like a world event's going to happen or someone's going to do something good or bad. And I'm just always like, stay up a little longer, wait until everyone's asleep. And it just, I hope he's proud of himself.
It's a busy night in Amanda, folks.
It's impressive. But I think Harley has more to do with it than him.
I love, though, that he just says, "I don't want to hear it. Thank you." Like, nope, I'm out. Bye.
Right.
But he did. She says, "I know what errand you've come on. It was I who was close to you, close beside you in the woods last night." So remember, we had that kind of experience that reminded us of Lord of the Rings. We thought it was Saruman, but it's actually Gandalf, possibly. And it's like we know that this was the creeper around the forest. "I heard all of your counsels." So she's this spy who's gained all the information they have, and she understands it better than they do. Calls him a simpleton. "Do you not know what the fruit is? It's the apple of youth, the apple of life. I know because I've tasted it, and I feel already such changes in myself that I shall never grow old or die. Eat it, and you and I will live forever. You'll be my king. I'll be your queen."
Wait.
Of this world or of your world.
I missed that.
Right?
Trying to seduce this boy.
If she said, or of your world, if we decide to go back there.
Yeah.
So it must be really important. She must know, and I don't know, that it's really important for this apple to not get back to Aslan.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
And for her to have someone that Aslan sent to be corrupted.
Wow.
Right? Someone who was given a mission, a quest by Aslan to show that, guess what, Aslan? You may have started a quest, but he listens to me over you. Right? I'm more powerful. Whatever you send out, I will corrupt.
That's got to be, there's got to be something, to, like Aslan saying, "I believe, I have faith in this boy." It actually makes me think of Job. It makes me think a little bit of like, so go ahead.
Do whatever you want. Do your worst.
Go ahead. Because he's one of mine.
Well, he knows the witch is out there, right? Aslan full well knows
that
this is a possibility. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. It's...
Wow. Crazy. I love Diggory's line. He says, "I don't know that I care much about living on and on. After everyone I know is dead, I'd rather live an ordinary time and die and go to heaven." And I think That's like we would say, oh man, what a childish idea. But that's exactly how it should be. The gift of death, right? We talk about the elves envying the men that they have a certain amount of time that is, relatively short-lived on life because it makes life sweeter. And then this is where she brings up his mother. And what about your mother?
Terrible.
Yeah, and then she says, who you pretend to love so.
Yeah, at that point too. So he later on, which you're about to read, where it's brought up that Polly is the one I think it's just twofold. I mean, just you say that and
it's her biggest chance at success, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
She has a wild card in her back pocket.
Yeah.
That's her trump, but she's
right.
That's a bad analogy, but
trump card.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, she's got the big one, but she's got one in her back pocket just in case with Polly.
Yeah, and it's just like, to me though, I'm like, I'm like, I don't know, like her saying though that who you pretend to love.
Yeah, that was the mistake.
You don't know me.
Right, that was the mistake.
You don't know me. Like that was definitely a mistake number one, and then mistake number two, as Sarah said, is like, on both accounts, like that's a pretty big two big cards to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's your wording, and you listen. It teaches you listen closely to what people are saying.
Yeah.
And
true.
word choice matters. Those things.
And what are they trying
to be?
Yeah, and like what manipulation is behind those words.
There you go.
I think she thought, she was like, well, this will get him to react emotionally.
Yeah.
Right. It'll cause him to. He'll get emotional, upset, and that will put him off guard, and I'll be able to use my words to entice him even more. And she could have been right, except that she underestimates Diggory and Polly and the bond they have, and his bond to his mother as well. I think. She thinks she's just gonna be able to. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Okay, so this is gonna seem a little high school English here, but like I guess if I were reading this and I was talking to my students about this, we would look at like, for the witch to say, who you say you love. That's a little again. That's the whole statement of itself is as my students would say, suspicious. It's a little suspicious, but
and presump.
It is exactly. So.
Sus and sump.
But then to say that using the word pretend, had that word choice, carries with it a different connotation.
Right.
And so you talk to kids about like, sometimes we say things that we need to evaluate our own word choice. Mm-hmm. So this is a good just moment to kind of think about that. Although I don't think you need to be careful with like every single thing. Well, sometimes we just want to talk and we don't. You need to be careful. Some people aren't the best at picking and choosing their words or whatever, but this isn't one of those examples where like it's just really, if you're trying to persuade somebody, not a very good persuasive tactic.
No,
at all. No. And so, anyways, I don't know. It's just interesting because I always think books and stories teach us a lot, and if you really slow down and you look at different things like that, that's what we do in English class, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of cool, and it makes you think about yourself. Interactions, conversations you have, and all that kind of stuff. So,
and she definitely gives herself away as a certain type of character here too.
Yeah,
like it's a characterization through what she's saying.
Absolutely,
her own word choice.
Absolutely.
So she just says, like, don't you get it? Like, take a bite, or take the apple. We'll put the rings on. Aslan's not near.
One bite would heal her.
Yeah,
right.
And Aslan's not around. He didn't have to know. Put your ring on. Go back and heal her. What's the matter? He's not close by.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just says, she'll have natural sleep. She won't need drugs. Just think of the gift you'd be giving her. Your home will be happy again. You will be like other boys. Which is also playing on something that he's felt. How she knows this, I don't know. But like, we'll go back to the very beginning. He's crying. He's in a new place.
Yeah.
No friends. Father's not around. New home. Living with crazy uncle and an aunt.
Yep.
Mom's
His life
sick.
probably feels pretty different from other boys
not
his
normal.
age, right?
At all.
Yeah.
Oh, gasped Diggory, as if he had been hurt, and put his hand to his head. For now he knew that the most terrible choice lay before him. And she just says, what's the lion ever done for you?
Wow.
What can he do for you once you're back in your own world? And what would your mother think if she knew you had this chance to heal her and didn't take it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
The lion, my friends, has done more. I even would, just in reading this, has done more for all of us than we realize.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And again, she's like going too far. If she wanted to get him, she should have stopped. But it's her own pride. Her pride pushes her to go farther and farther and dig the knife and twist it more and more.
Well, she's stronger and prouder than ever. So why wouldn't she just keep?
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. You know, and that also she brings up the point, you could have saved your father's heart.
Right.
You know, but instead you're running errands for a wild animal.
Right.
In a strange world that's no business of yours.
Yeah. So you're
don't even
out of
belong
place.
here.
Yeah.
So no, again, it just makes you think like, why would I listen to you? You're telling me I don't like. I know I don't belong here. This is not where I live, of course. But like, what's your point?
I know. And then he says, I don't think he's a wild animal at all. And sort of dried up voice. He is. I don't know.
Right.
Doesn't know how quite to.
Right.
Then she takes that. It's just interesting, this back and forth. Then he is something worse. Look what he has done to you already. Look how heartless he has made you. By not taking this to your mother, you're heartless. Okay, interesting jump there. Mm-hmm. Cruel, pitiless boy. You would let your own mother die rather than, oh, shut up, said the miserable Diggory, still in the same voice. Do you think I don't see? But I promise. Anytime Diggory says shut up, stuff's about to get real.
Yeah, he's serious.
Like Diggory's
it takes a little while, I feel like, for him to get to that point.
Right,
he does.
Serious.
And he's like, shut up.
I'm
Let
done.
me think here a second. I'm on the edge of doing the right thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Stop.
Right.
And dude, I don't know about you guys, but when you're feeling like attacked or, we're talking about spiritual warfare, right?
Yep.
Sometimes just saying, I might use expletives sometimes, but I say, just shut up.
Yep.
Leave me alone. You have no power.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't belong
And
to
there's
you.
power in that.
Get
I think
out.
to just say,
Yep.
I'm not going to
absolutely.
listen. I'm not
And
going to.
you sound like crazy because you're talking to yourself, but you're not really. You're talking to something that's there,
That's
that's
right.
unseen. But yeah, not unreal. So she tries to even help him rationalize. You didn't know what you were promising. You didn't know this was going to be the cost, or that you could have saved your mother. And no one here can prevent you. Mother herself, said Diggory, getting the words out with difficulty, wouldn't like it.
Yep.
Awfully strict about keeping promises and not stealing and all that sort of thing. She'd tell me not to do it. Quick as anything if she was here.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. She's trying to drive at this idea of saving your mother, and it's the idea of what his mother has taught him and who his mother has taught him to be that ends up backfiring on the witch, but
Saves him.
helping
Yeah,
him.
he
Going back to his mom.
Mhm.
Yeah. But she need never know, said the witch. No one in your world need know anything about this whole story. You needn't take that little girl back with you, you know? And that's what gets it, right?
Yeah.
That's what...
Said she made her fatal mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, like already this has been suspicious. It's not landing, and then the icing, I call it icing. I don't even know that it was the real, I get that it's just sort of the final, you call it the fatal, that final mistake or whatever, but there's been mistakes all along the way
from the
here.
get-go. Yeah.
And to me, I just think Diggory's taking all this real personal, but the reason that it's like when you shifted from Mother to Polly, so now that didn't work. So my mother, the whole angle with my mother didn't work. You're right, because my mom has taught me better than that.
Right.
Oh, and also you're going after my friend Polly. Trust me, my mom wouldn't like that either. I mean, it doesn't say that, but it's sort of like that's where my mindset is. Now you've really messed up.
Well, and I think too, like maybe it's easier for him to think, not easier for him to think about Polly, but he's in that world with Polly. Like she's there with him. He knows he can get back to his mom any second, and but for me, it's maybe like, Polly's right outside.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave her here to be, because at that point, it's like, what are you going to do to her?
Yeah.
I
also think too, like his most regrettable action in this entire book is when he didn't listen to Polly.
Yeah, right. He's trying to make up for that.
Polly didn't want him to ring the bell, and he did. And that was their biggest falling out. It was like, it wasn't good. Like, the fact that he did that anyway, and she said that was, I think in that moment she said, what a jolly mean thing to do, or whatever. Like it was cruel. It was selfish. And up until then and after that, they worked as a team perfectly. But in that moment, he did something for himself instead of her or them.
And he's learned.
And he's learned.
He's not making the same
And
mistake.
that was a barb that was there that he had helped, a wound he had kind of had repaired. And the witch tried to go after it, and he said, not again.
Yeah.
I won't make that mistake again. So we learned that Diggory is a boy who learns from his mistakes, too.
Yeah.
And that also goes back to what his mom taught him. Learn from your
Absolutely.
mistakes, you know. All right, well, I mean, this is kind of, geez, my voice just cracked again.
It's okay.
Like this fire, buddy. It's just cracking.
This is where it kind of wraps up. But, you know, the fact that she suggested that suddenly made all the other things the witch had been saying to him sound false and hollow. And even in the midst of all of his misery, his head suddenly cleared, and he said in a different and much louder voice. So also the tone of, you know, he was struggling to get words out. It was a fight to even speak, and part of that was probably enchantment by the witch, but also just the struggle. Just kind of think left him paralyzed in his words. He was like, she was clouding his thinking. She's not giving him time to process stuff either. But here it comes out, clear as can be. Look here, where do you come into all this? Why are you so precious fond of my mother all of a sudden? What's it got to do with you? What's your game? Polly says, good for you.
Yeah, Polly.
Quick, get away now. She hadn't dared to say anything all through the argument because, you see,
Yep.
it wasn't her mother who was dying.
Yeah.
So just the respect she has for him, that I don't know what it's like to be in Diggory's shoes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get myself involved in this because that's his decision to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a unique position even from myself. And it's his job to make the right decision, not mine to make it for him.
Right. It's his task.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. You almost don't want to take. That's actually really smart. And when we're done with this last little bit here, I kind of want to talk about a couple things right here at the end, just because it all kind of fits together. So we'll
I'll wrap this up. Essentially, they fly off. The witch calls out, you know, and they're back to Narnia. Diggory never spoke on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And the others were shy of speaking to him. He was very sad. You know, even though he accomplished this task, like he's thinking about his mother, and he wasn't even sure all the time that he had done the right thing. But but whenever he remembered the shining tears in Aslan's eyes, he became sure. They flew, Fledge flew with untiring wings. When the sky was growing red and sunset had fallen behind them, they were in Narnia. Fledge glided down, spread out his four legs, closed his wings, and landed cantering, so no more awkward landings. Walks up to Aslan, hands him the apple, and says, "I brought you the apple you wanted, sir."
I love that. But yeah, I brought, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I've done this. Yeah. So, like, there's a couple things. So, already, Diggory. One thing this reminded me of was that Diggory is like actually in another world.
Sorry.
From his mother, and that her death would take her to another world from him. So he's actually already experiencing a separation.
Yeah,
Separation,
true.
yeah.
Wow.
But in that world where he is separated from his mother, he still recalls her and her teachings and everything that was precious about those memories. Like, that's still there for him. And I was sitting here going, like, he will return, I'm guessing, return to his world. And if his mother is as sick as it sounds that she is dying, she will die. And he will recall, I mean, it goes back to the thing I've talked about with you guys before, which is that nothing can break or separate that bond. It's just always there, And it's like, wow. And I've never until, like, it's amazing that we read this book. Because this has helped me a lot, actually. And I've thought, like, a lot about all of this, and that he went to Narnia, this other world, and truly was separated. But yet we can, like, I don't know what people believe or what the whole deal is here and everything, but, like, it seemed to be Lewis's sort of, I don't know if that was intent, like if he meant that to be a thing or not or what that, but it stuck with me that that's something this boy was struggling with, and I don't know that there was still this connection. And the other piece too was as you were saying with Polly, that, like, yeah, that's tough. That's tough to see your friend going through something and knowing, like, you can't there are times where it's okay. You're allowed to just be silent and support your friend and let them go through whatever trial and adversity or whatever this is, and that's their thing. You're there to support them, but you're not going to speak. They need to own that moment if they can, and you just need to be there to support them in whatever way. And if they fail, they fail, and failure's okay, and you can move forward and learn from it. That's what life is about.
Right.
So, and Diggory has learned, as you pointed out a couple times, Lane, he's learned, and then to have a good friend like Polly, who's like there with him as he's going through this whole ordeal, not saying, not jumping in, stealing his thunder. I don't know. I just really like her. I really like these characters, and I'm just like kind of blown away at how deep this book is, man. I just can't. Maybe I'm taking it too far. I'm looking.
I think you're doing exactly what you should do with it.
Too deep into it, but like it's just like there's so many lessons.
I know.
There's so many lessons, and I
think this chapter may have been the most packed with, or at least maybe it feels like it now, the most packed with those lessons. Like I felt like we could have stopped and had hour-long conversations about like 5 or 6 or 7 of those different.
Well, and like you said, we're towards the end of the book. The characters have gone through. I mean, think about all they've gone through and what they have learned, and they've been perceptive to the situations around them, and they have different. They are thinking differently now than they did at the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
About the situations they're in, and I don't know.
The Magician's Nephew.
It's magical, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? I honestly didn't think that it would be, as deep. But like you said, so many lessons have been learned, and so much. There's so much that we can take away.
Yeah. So it's good. I don't know. It's good. I would love to actually see what people thought about this episode in this particular chapter.
Yeah.
And like, I guarantee there's more. There's actually more parallels, more layers that.
Oh yeah.
And that's why you reread these things. And it's made me think. Before we started this, Lane, I wasn't. Like, I liked Narnia. I liked the connection I had with my mother with it and watching that TV show, and that she loved it. It was something she read, back. I never really read it, though. It was something that was sort of pushed at me to read, but what I fell in love with was The Hobbit, and that was fine. Because, again, as much as you guys probably want to, you push, like what your passions and loves are. You want your kids to love
let's
that.
watch Fellowship of the Ring.
Right.
Charlotte, you want to watch Return of the King? Your birthday's in it. Like,
Right. So, I don't know. But it's just, like, there's just layers. There's just so much. But I guess I was learning, though, that Narnia, it's such a teaching tool. Yeah. And there's just so many
Did your mom
lessons.
read the books?
Yeah.
So do you almost feel, if I'm going too far, dude, just stop me.
No,
do you almost feel like this is a journey you're taking with her?
Dude, like it, in such a weird way, I did not know that Diggory went through all of this and had this many thoughts about his mother, and it literally blows me away. I was on my way down here, and I told you, I think about my mom a lot, because just when I go on long drives, I always try to, think and remember Mom. And then I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this chapter and I'm just like, wow, man. Like, and I kept thinking about the 2 just get a second apple, Diggory, because you can save your mom. But you can't. That's okay, Sorry. So yeah, it's been crazy. It's crazy. I can't believe this. Oh, dude. But yeah. So if you've ever if you've listened to this long and this far into this book club, it's funny to me because we've had so many moments on Up Talking Tolkien, in an unexpected podcast, and here I am crying in this kid's book because there's so many lessons in it. I could not get over it, man, and it is actually literally like a healing process.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching this young boy go through this, and I'm just like, wow. This is something else. But so yeah, if you've ever thought should I share this with my kids, and can kids get something from this series? Boy, oh boy, they can. Even if it's you read this as a kid, coming back to it as an adult, wow. Same thing that's happening, in an unexpected podcast, like with Lord of the Rings. There's going back and experiencing these things. It's great and it's good.
Yeah.
And we've been thinking more and more about youth were teachers, and I want kids to learn. I've actually now, since we've done this, I know you're teaching like you have your kids reading it and stuff. I thought my kids need to read this.
It's a good book.
Like it's even though it's like for a lower age group, I'm sort of like, wow, this is great.
Well, I think what you're talking about too, like that's what Lewis said. Kids stories. If you're an adult, you have more that you can put into them, and as a result, you get more out of them.
Yeah,
that was one of his philosophies. That kids stories aren't just for kids; they're for adults. Anybody.
Yeah.
Right. And I can see that clear as like all get out, because it's just like it's so obvious. Now when I first started reading this book, because we're towards the end. I think I'll just do this now since this chapter was so emotional for me.
Yeah.
Like I was sort of like, this will be fun. Yeah. I've liked it. I like the movies, etc. I never thought that it would be this big of a deal to me. I'm being dead serious. I was just sort of like along for the ride, as you always say, sit back, just enjoy, have whatever. And it's like I thoroughly enjoyed and life-changing. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I did. That's beautiful, dude. I mean, it's like it really even for me who kind of knew the stories before, like getting into it and actually trying to, and then doing it, all three of us together has been. Yeah, I mean, I think I said this last time we recorded for Up Talking Tolkien, but there's just something different. There's something different about this. This book club, these books. That's kind of hard to. It's everything. It's everything you said, and it's more, and it's like hard to even describe. I don't know, and I sound like I'm not really saying anything. I'm probably not, but it's just
because it's undescribable.
It is so fulfilling. Yeah, it is so fulfilling, and it is unexpected because you think, kids book,
right?
Talking lion, magical worlds, whatever, and it's unbelievable the parallels to life.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful, dude. Now, now it even has more depth for me. Thinking like your mom's with us, your mom's on this adventure with us, and
Lane, she loved this series.
Yeah,
she actually loved this series.
Yeah.
Like, and the more I think about this, I'm just like, wow. We had these books. Mom tried to get me to read it. She read like Lion, the Witch and Wardrobe, like read that to us, but I never really, So I don't know. It is. She very much is on this journey.
It's like what you always say, and it's like what you said earlier that and what you said your mom told you was that bond can't be separated.
Right. Yep.
And it came into this chapter that he is not physically in the same world as his mom.
Right.
And yet she's still alive.
Yep.
And he's still real to her, even though she's unaware that he even left. And it's just that gives us hope.
It's his moral compass, right, for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's, like you said, his mom probably, he didn't say this, but I'm thinking his mom probably wouldn't like if he left Polly. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Crazy.
All right.
Crazy. Okay, well, wow, I can't even.
Thanks for sharing us.
I'm sorry, guys. How do we move on?
Is this are we to Lewis letter?
Yes, yes,
we
sir.
We actually have a physical letter here. Okay,
that's awesome.
Get back.
Yeah.
Here.
There's so it's I'm looking at it because there's a Tolkien letter and also a Lewis letter.
There.
Okay, end of Tolkien story. Okay. I discovered further up, and we actually have a physical letter, which is really, really cool. I discovered your Further Up podcast in February of 2020, and believe it or not, I may actually enjoy it even more than Unexpected Podcast. We believe it. But what I really love about it is, one, Sarah is in it. Mm-hmm. She really adds a dynamic that I think is wonderful and needed. And two, I feel maybe a little more depth and personal insight is brought out. Part of that is the nature of Lewis and his intent in writing the books. Lewis is also a master, and it is evident in all his works. I mean, Screw Tape Letters, Mere Christianity, thank you, The Great Divorce, etc. Come on. Mm-hmm. He writes and speaks in such a way that makes me think, yeah, I could have said that. Yet it is so deeply profound and annoyingly logical that I know I could never have said anything so succinct and clear. And to that point, we've talked about his economy of language this whole time, right? It is perfect. All the while, he does it without compromising any truth. I grew up on Narnia even before Lord of the Rings. We owned the Focus on the Family radio dramas, which I have sung praises for. They're amazing. I showed Sarah those.
Mm-hmm.
Have I played them for you?
Yes, a little bit. Yes.
They're amazing. So by the time I read the books myself when I was 12, I was intimately familiar with them. That didn't diminish my enjoyment of them one bit. Even to this day, I will occasionally listen to one of the radio dramas in my car. In fact, as an adult, I find myself listening and relating in a whole different way than I did as a child. There is one part in The Voyage of the Dawn Treader where all hope is lost and their doom is nigh, but Lucy pleads quietly for help. Aslan, of course, comes to their aid. As he does so, he whispers to her in a low voice only meant for her ears, "Courage, dear heart." I can't say why, but tears sprung to my eyes and threatened to fall to my cheeks. It just hit me. He didn't come to rescue them with huge pomp and fanfare. It wasn't like times in the past when he literally came to their aid as a roaring lion. It was like a gentle promise. He would take care of her always. And because she knew where to turn whenever she needed help, she should have courage. Because her heart was dear to his heart. And there is nothing more comforting than that. The movies were good, but didn't compare to the radio dramas and books in my imagination that accompanied them. So my only real connection to the movies is that I was once told I looked like the actress that plays Susan Pevensey. That's awesome. To be honest, I never thought so. I'll read this last part as well. I've enclosed another great series. There are actually 4 books in this one. I encourage you to read it whenever you have time. It's Decker, one of my favorite modern authors. He specializes in what I like to refer to as a bam moment. So a moment when it clicks and you are just floored. I don't think you will find it boring once you start. Redeeming Love is for Sarah. This book is a solid read, and I don't even care for romance books. Francine Rivers is a master as well, in my opinion. If you ever have the time, you will not regret this book, or Rivers' Mark of the Lion series. Sorry for the length, and you don't have to read this Tolkien or Lewis portions on any podcast. Well, we just did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she signed her name, and I can't read it.
Is it Rachel? Is it Rachel Stinson?
Rachel.
Yes. That's got to be.
It's got to be. Rachel,
I am so sorry.
Hey.
And if it's not, I'm going to find out by the next time we record. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to read this Lewis letter again, and I'm going to put your name at the end of it.
All right, friends. Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We had a few technical difficulties and kind of lost the visual and a portion of the audio at the end of this recording. But thank you for all the support on our Facebook page, all the reviews you guys have left. Those letters are fantastic. Absolutely love receiving those. And it was an emotional episode for me. It's just always great talking to friends and talking to Lane and Sarah and having you guys participate in this book club. It's fantastic. And like I said in the episode, this chapter really moved me, and I never thought that I would be impacted and influenced in such a way. So just been crazy. We had a fun conversation about Turkish Delight. We'll have to table that, and we'll have to fill you in on what happened there later. It was pretty hysterical, so we'll get more on that later. But I wanted to remind everyone that we recorded the last episode, Strawberry's Adventure, and we did a video component to that. So I've talked to Lane and I've talked to Sarah, and we've decided to post those on an Unexpected Podcast YouTube page. So all you need to do is go to an Unexpected Podcast, just type that in YouTube in the search, it'll come right up, and there'll be a playlist. You can go click, I should say like Narnia or further up, and we'll start posting the visual component there. So if you're just listening and you want to kind of see that, and you want to see about like the day, the fire that's crackling, the things that are going on there in Amanda, you can definitely go check that out. It's pretty neat. The sun is setting behind me. It's awesome. Lane has given us some great shots there, and it was just it was just a fun day. It was a magical day. I was telling Lane, it's hard to capture those magical moments. It's best just to kind of live in them, and so that's really what happened. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we'll be back soon to kind of finish up The Magician's Nephew. But again, you can follow us, Aslan's Army, on Instagram at Aslan Moves. You can send your Lewis letters to furtheruppod@gmail.com. So again, thanks for all the support. We really appreciate all your participation in the book club. It's just absolutely wonderful. And we'll be back to finish up The Magician's Nephew here soon. So with that, we'll continue to follow Aslan as he's not safe, but he's good indeed. We'll see you next time. And remember, Aslan moves.